Stephen in Indiana, pronouns are he, him. You are the first caller on the Sunday show. Welcome.
Thank you for taking my call, Matt, and nice to meet you, Arden. Hopefully we can have a good conversation.
Yeah, let's hope. What's going on?
In the intro, I said that I wasn't. I'm a non-theist. I have a situation where about 3 years ago, I went through a very traumatic situation with my wife. And ultimately, we went to the Amazon jungle for seeking medical cure for her terminal cancer. And in that process, I was shown a number of things through her treatment, and I finally got a shaman to look at her. And ever since that point in time, I've been undergoing a lot of physical experiences myself. And I know that, my personal experience doesn't count for anything, but I do have some experiences that I've been able to collate with scientific evidence and other people's experiences. One of these is that during meditation or without meditation, I undergo what's called a kriya. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this term, but it's a term used in Hinduism, where your body undertakes involuntary movement. So typically it happens through what people refer to as, Kundalini awakening or, other such processes that they give names for. During these kriyas, your body moves, and that's not the important thing in a way, but my body has undergone certain movements that I can't actually explain, and I was hoping that I could present that to you, and you could let me, understand what your views are. And these movements are super advanced yoga movements, where my entire body is overtaken, and I can't actually physically control its movement. My body undergoes physical contortions that in a normal sense, would break muscles or tear muscles, etc. And this is a known scientific construct that appears in multiple people who have undergone, similar experiences. So I was wondering, given the physical nature of this is certainly not something that you can equate to being in the mind. Or an experience that you can say, hey, this was some drug, or this was this. This is actually I can do it by severe, undertaking deep meditation, where I can, and it gets to a point where my body is taking control of, So. I know you were asking, I've been watching your show trying to, see, find different viewpoints. I have a PhD in physics. I'm a head of research of artificial intelligence, so I'm not,
Sure.
one to actually look into details of, facts and try to make conclusions. But this is certainly something
Stephen,
that I know in my head, that I wasn't trained on all these super advanced, physical
Stephen. Yeah. I appreciate the detail. Sorry, go on, Matt. You look like you're about to burst out of your skin.
No, I'm confused about a lot of stuff. I mean, I took notes. Cool. I took lots of notes too. That I was over here typing furiously because there's lots of stuff to address. And okay, cool. You've got a PhD in physics and you research AI. Who had cancer?
My wife. Her father was diagnosed with terminal spine cancer, and she had spine cancer just 4 years ago.
And you went to the Amazon jungle to seek a cure.
So what happened was she was given a few months to live. She was on to her last couple of weeks of living when she couldn't move, and someone told me that there could be alternative medicines, and so I contacted someone who in the Amazon jungle. There's a thing called a chantra, which is a native way of healing people. and so we had no option left in Western medicine. So I convinced her to get on a plane and go.
So the answer to my question was yes, just with a lot more words. So you went to the Amazon jungle to seek a cure for cancer. Did you find one?
Yes, she was. After 2 weeks, we came back and she had all the tests, and she didn't have cancer in her spine. And since she's undergone 4 spinal surgeries, and she's doing fine.
Wait,
have you presented this to a medical board? I think you deserve a Nobel Peace Prize, right?
The thing is that it's a single case. It's a single case. So again, it's.
Hang on.
But we have all the. Yeah, sorry.
You said she had spinal surgeries.
No. Because her spine was damaged so much, the cancer was removed, but it has done so much damage to her spinal bones that she's had to have plates in her put into her spine.
Okay. You said the cancer was removed.
Yes, that's correct.
How?
I don't know how. All I know is that when we went, one of the shamans there, which was about an 80-year-old woman, she performed some treatments. She gave her some medicines, mixed up medicines from the Amazon, and from that, and performing a chantra where they physically bite the person, and after that, after 2 weeks, she no longer had the cancer. During that period of time, she was super sick, and yeah.
So why aren't we talking about this? I could give a fuck about Kundalini yoga and whether or not you spasm on the ground or what somebody's proposed explanation for that is. I don't see any reason that it couldn't be psychosomatic. You're basically describing a situation where somebody has a history of spinal cancer in their family. They get spinal cancer. They exhaust all options in medicine. We're not going to label Western and alternative because alternative medicine isn't medicine. And so you exhausted all medical options. You went to the Amazon where a shaman chanted and bit her and gave her some medication, and 2 weeks later she was cancer free. Why aren't we talking about that?
Because I know in the past, when people have spoken about physical experiences, that hasn't been the topic, but it wasn't the topic that I was trying to, talk about today.
Okay. Well, the topic you were trying to talk about today, I don't know, and neither does anybody else. When people are, you said that this couldn't be your Kundalini yoga, Kundalini awakening.
No, I'm not trying to give it any of those labels. I'm saying,
I'm sorry,
when I spoke, I didn't give any of the labels. I said other research and materials uses these words, but I don't know. I don't use those words.
But you did use those words to say that others used those words.
But I didn't describe my situation as those.
Okay. I don't understand why you're interrupting. I don't understand how that's relevant. What I'm saying is, if you go into convulsions during meditation, go see a fucking doctor. Don't call an atheist show.
Not convulsions. They're not convulsions. I'm calling because you've asked multiple times, do people have physical evidence?
You don't have physical evidence. You don't have physical evidence. You don't have scientific evidence. What didn't you call them convulsions before? What are they?
No, I didn't. I know I didn't.
What did you call them before?
No, I called them that involuntary movements of the body. Specifically, yeah.
Okay, so if you have involuntary movements of your body during meditation, you should go see a doctor. You should maybe investigate. Okay. I don't have an explanation for what you... Stop. I don't have an explanation for what you experienced, nor could I possibly have an explanation for what you experienced, because I didn't experience that, and I have no way to investigate it.
Yeah. Also, I mean, Matt's right. You know, I have no way to know exactly what you experienced or to investigate it, but I'm pretty sure there are examples of there's an entire sect of I'm gonna not say what religion it is, but there are practices essentially speaking in tongues, and it involves involuntary convulsions that are identical to what we see in a lot of charismatic churches: speaking in tongues, being touched with the Spirit, falling to the ground, having convulsions. It's a pretty trivial religious quote unquote experience to have that is not in any way mystical and is very biologically based. So I don't know if you brought something more, like if you could point to like an article where that was examined, that would be a lot more interesting. But when you're just saying basically you had these involuntary convulsions, I don't know what you want us to do with that.
No, my argument is that there's many people who undergo certain physical constructs like this, which is beyond the mind, and
sir,
it is a demonstration.
No, sir. You do not get to say it's beyond the mind. How is it beyond the mind? How did you demonstrate that?
Beyond the conscious mind.
How did you? Okay. Reasserting what you just asserted doesn't demonstrate it. How do you demonstrate that something is beyond the mind when the mind is literally our ability to perceive, our identity, and in control of all of our physical aspects? So how did you determine?
No, it's been proven. It's been proven the physical mind doesn't.
How? Shut the fuck up. How did you determine that it's not a product of the mind? That's the question.
Okay, so there's two parts of the mind, right? You accept that there's a conscious and subconscious mind, right?
I think there's more than that, but it doesn't matter. That's both mind.
At least a minimum, there's these two. Do you accept that these two exist?
Yes. What the hell does that have to do with something not being the mind?
Okay, because can you control your subconscious mind?
I have no idea whether or not someone can control or impact their subconscious mind. But generally speaking, we call generally, Jesus fucking Christ. Generally speaking, the subconscious mind is the part that we don't consider to be consciously or controlled.
So there's scientific experiments which are known that the conscious mind receives its information way after the brain has actually determined something.
Stephen.
Yes.
How did you determine that the physical things that happen during yoga are not a product of the mind?
I said I corrected myself, and I said conscious mind, which because I don't have control over them, which means that either they're coming from the subconscious mind or they're coming from outside the consciousness.
Okay, so we didn't hear the correction where you acknowledged that it could be the subconscious mind, because previously you just said mind.
No,
and my objection is, how did you determine? Can I finish a
straight
fucking
after
sentence,
that, I thought I
Stephen?
corrected
Is it
it.
possible for you to allow me to finish a fucking sentence?
Oh, go ahead.
So now you've corrected this to where you're saying, oh, when I said that it wasn't a product of mind, I meant the conscious mind. It may be a product of the subconscious mind. And so now my issue is, okay, what difference does it make? If the answer is you don't know what's causing this, then the answer is you don't know what's causing this, right?
That's correct.
Okay. Then the answer is you don't know what's causing this.
That's correct. And I never said I knew what was causing it.
But you did try to assert that it came from out of the mind. So clearly you think you have a reason to believe it's something, right?
No. What I'm saying is that if it came from, let me just try to clarify again. So I'm saying that I have no knowledge. I've never been trained or have any knowledge on performing those activities. Okay? So that means if I don't have any conscious, these super advanced, physical movements, which are,
I don't know what super. No, Stephen. What does super advanced physical movements mean?
I said I try to explain them that they're like yoga movements where your body twists and contorts into ways that. What does
super advanced physical movements mean?
I just said it's contortions and yoga positions that.
So you did yoga.
What does super advanced physical movements mean? I don't know what what's the difference between super advanced physical movements, and physical movements? That's what I'm asking.
Okay, physical movements are normal movements that you would make as a human, and advanced movements are ones where your body moves in ways that are non-natural.
I don't know what that means. My body has never moved in any way that's not natural, and I've never seen anybody else's body move in a way that's not natural. What does that mean?
Okay, so your body can move in ways that are non-natural, so it can twist and can contort in ways that would.
Stephen, when we ask you, what does
Are
it
you talking
mean
about
for
cramps?
movement? Yeah.
No.
Hang on, I got to ban a whiny little bitch in chat who thinks he can tell me how to do my own fucking show. Goodbye.
When we ask you to define what a non-natural movement is, and you say it's a movement that's non-natural, you realize how that gives us absolutely no new information and doesn't help us progress our understanding at all, right?
Yeah, but there's ways that your body can contort, your spine can twist, your body can contort.
But that's all natural. Like, to me, when you say non-natural movement, I'm imagining like the super arm ability from the new Legend of Zelda game. Like, does your arm go 8 feet and connect things together?
The physical boundaries of your body.
Okay, so those are natural movements.
So you don't mean natural, non-natural. You mean normative and non-normative. Your body moves in ways that it doesn't normally move. Like, for example, a muscle spasm?
Correct. So in a muscle spasm, your muscles contract. So what I'm talking about here is muscle movements where your body becomes, it contorts in ways that would go against the torsion of your muscles normally movement.
Okay, so your body did things it doesn't normally do.
Correct.
But I still want to know what.
And I can't do if I tried to do it myself.
I don't know why this is so fucking difficult. Okay? You're saying during meditation, your body moves in ways and adopts new positions that you cannot achieve voluntarily outside of meditation.
With my conscious mind. Now, it happens outside and inside meditation, but I can't consciously create those same movements.
So inside meditation and outside meditation, sometimes your body assumes positions that you can't do voluntarily.
Correct.
Then clearly the meditation isn't relevant, and the one factor in all of this is your body. So what you're talking about is your body occasionally adopts poses or positions that you cannot achieve voluntarily. What is super advanced?
Okay, it's ones where my neck, my head on my neck almost turns, as far back as possible, and the bones start crunching, and bones in my spine start crunching because my body
I don't
is
understand
contorted.
what is advanced. So it seems like you're having various.
I'll take that.
Hang on. It seems that you're having various physical contortions. What makes them advanced? Because when we talk about advanced and super advanced, and you seem to refer to these as if you're adopting yoga positions that you were never taught, but yoga positions aren't unnatural, non-normative contortions. They're just positions you can put your body in. So
Correct.
You are now saying that in meditation and outside of meditation, your body, not through an act of volition, sometimes contorts into positions that you are incapable of reaching on your own consciously.
That's correct.
What do one of those positions look like?
Okay. They're typically not reproducible, but one example is that I had one hand on the floor, one hand on a bench, and my entire body was twisted where my entire spine was cracking. my whole body was trying to contort around the spinal cord.
I don't. You had one hand on the floor, one hand on the thing, and your spine was twisting. That does not describe a position to me.
It describes a position of twisting. So if you were to twist,
no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It fucking doesn't. It fucking doesn't describe the position. If I can put one hand on the floor right now and one hand on here, and it doesn't tell me what position you're talking about.
No, and then you have to rotate. Then you have to twist your body, right? So
I don't know
constraints of those.
Do you understand, Stephen, with your PhD in physics, that there are a number of different ways that you could twist a body? Along which axis are we twisting?
The vertical axis, the spine. That's what I said. The spine.
But if you got one hand on the ground, do you mean the normative vertical axis? If you were standing up?
If you're standing up, so you have one.
Okay. So it twists until your spine is cracking. Have you been to a doctor?
Yes.
What did they say?
They can't explain the situation.
Were you able to reproduce it in front of them?
I can reproduce the situation, not exactly the same positions, because the same positions don't always occur, but I can reproduce the same thing in meditation.
Wait,
the question I literally asked was, were you able to reproduce it in front of them?
And the answer is that each position is always different, but I can reproduce positional movement of my body.
So no.
So you've been unable to reproduce the scenario in front of them.
No, the exact same position, but not the problem, not the general problem.
Okay. The issue I'm asking about, you go see a doctor, and when you go in, do you just tell the doctor, hey, my body contorts in weird ways sometimes? Or do you show them an approximation of how your body contorts?
I show them the approximation.
Or let me finish! Why is it so difficult for me to let me finish the thought so that we can get some clarity? The question is, do you describe it to them? Are you able to approximate it? Or could you just meditate in the doctor's office until it happens, or record yourself getting into these positions in order to show them? Has either of the latter two happened?
I have recordings, and I have shown these. I have demonstrated the similar positions, different positions, and the recordings.
Where are the recordings?
I can send them to you. If you give me your contact information, I can send this to you.
The contact information is always down here. You can email the line. You can email sans.deity@gmail.com. But the bigger issue is I'm not a doctor, and I'm not going to have an explanation. But it took us 23 minutes to get to what could have been a really easy opening sentence, which is, hey, sometimes when I'm meditating and sometimes when I'm not, my body contorts into weird positions. I've recorded this on video. Doctors don't have an explanation for it. Would you be interested in looking at it to see what you think? 23 minutes to get to there.
Okay, I apologize.
I mean, I don't know why you would call to say, hey, something weird happens to my body that I don't have an explanation for, and doctors haven't explained yet either. What conclusion, if you don't have an explanation for it, what conclusion could you possibly reach, especially since you say it happens in and out of meditation? So what good is it?
It happens primarily during when I try to meditate, and it's happened outside of that as well. So what I was just trying to say is that there is things which are beyond the conscious mind.
Stephen, if something happens inside of meditation and outside of meditation, wouldn't that imply that meditation isn't relevant to the issue?
No, correct, but a way of invoking or a way of
why is there a but?
such a.
Why was there a correct but instead of just correct? The fact of the matter is that if something happens when you're trying to meditate and not when you're not trying to meditate, then clearly the logical inference to begin with is that meditation isn't a factor. Just like if something happens when I'm eating and when I'm not eating, or when I'm smiling and when I'm not smiling, or when I'm shitting and when I'm not shitting.
No, what I was trying to say is that it's a state of mind, in terms of being, quiet and peaceful and stuff like that, that potentially is, an initiating factor. And so during meditation, that is a state that you're trying to obtain, whereas when it's outside of meditation, you may or may not be in that state based on other things that are going on in your mind. So yes, it can happen inside out of meditation, but meditation may be a way of initiating due to the conscious state that you're in.
I'm really struggling to see the point, Stephen. Okay, because initially you called in talking about your wife having cancer and you guys going to the Amazon.
No, I didn't. No, that wasn't the story.
Stephen, can you shut up and let me talk? Stephen, okay, I'm going to mute you on the board.
You.
Oh, okay. So you started talking about your wife having cancer and you and her going to the Amazon, which is apparently irrelevant to the rest of this. Then you tried to say that this somehow is indicative of evidence of something beyond the mind, but all you've talked about is meditation and body positions. So that is all entirely physical within the mind and the body. So please help us. I'm going to unmute you in a second. Please help us get to the point. What is the point of this entire conversation? Because I see absolutely nothing so far. You're unmuted.
Okay. The point wasn't about her having cancer. I was saying that this whole scenario started as a result of that traumatic experience, which was experienced in our life. And so that has happened, and this now is a byproduct of that, some consequence which is downstream Stephen, from that.
This didn't answer my question at all. I don't care about the reasons that you brought that up. Okay. I mentioned it because it's irrelevant to the broader point that it seems like maybe you're trying to get to, but have not done so far. Help me understand what the point of this call is, because I so far all I've gotten is you telling me a story about your mind and body and things that happened to you, which
additionally, additionally, you said that this all started when you had some trauma, and this is a byproduct. You don't get to claim that this is a byproduct. That is a post hoc ergo propter hoc fallacy. So address Arden's issue.
I'm just giving that in the time. This never happened before that event. I'm just saying that it's happened.
No, sir, that's a lie. That's a lie. You are not just giving the timeline. You called it a byproduct, and that's what I objected to. How is it that you can call something a byproduct, and when I say that you don't get to make that assertion, you then lie and claim that you were only giving the timeline? Ignore this and address what Arden said.
What I'm trying to understand is there, if it's not in my conscious mind, then then is the only thing that I conclude that it's in the subconscious.
That's still your mind. Even if I accept your distinction, that's still the mind. So I'm still just struggling here, Stephen. I don't really get the point of this. I think we probably ought to let you go because I don't see this conversation going in any more of a productive direction. So,
no problem.
All right. Well, you have a nice one, Stephen.
Thanks for taking your time. Thanks.
That's so disappointing.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Jimmy Snow, executive producer for The Line and avid candy eater. Hey, if you'd like to support this channel, you can do so now on Patreon or as a channel member with tiers specific to supporting specific shows and hosts. And it also supports our ability to expand programming going forward. You could also leave a super thanks down below, get a little special highlighted comment, and I'll tell you what, you could hit like and you could hit subscribe. Now, here are some video suggestions so we can fudge that algorithm. Go with one of ours. Forget everyone else on YouTube. I'm begging.